The small guard is alive and well in the G League. You look at guys like Bronny James, Mac McClung, Isaiah Thomas, Marquise Noel. Even the leading scorer in the NBA G League is 6'1". Let me pull up his name right now. Brandon Williams. If you take a look at these guys, all of them should probably get a spot somewhere, right? Guys like Bronny James and Reed Sheppard, I think Bronny has a long way to go to be an NBA player, but Reed Sheppard as well, to play significant minutes, but they still have a chance. Guys like Marquise Noel, Mac McClung, and Isaiah Thomas, I'm not sure, bro. Because it doesn't really mean much to score 30 points in the NBA G League anymore. You know why? Because we all know that if once you run into Jared Vanderbilt or Drew Holiday, you're not doing that. You're not scoring 30 points. And if you're under 6'3", everyone's gonna look at you like you're barbecue chicken on the court. So you better be an offensive powerhouse like Stephen Curry, Trae Young, Jalen Brunson, Peyton Pritchard. You gotta prove yourself 100 times more as a small guard just to get a chance, just to get a roster spot. Because you might as well, if you're an NBA team, give that 15th spot to to a guy that's 6'7" or 7 foot that can just hit a corner three, because you already got your guys. You know, every team has their one guy that they use as their point of attack, right? Guys like Gabe Vincent or Davion Mitchell, where they just are hounds on the defensive end. You know, they have a spot. They're few and far between, but there's a spot somewhere in the NBA for them, just because they're always going to bring effort, right? But again, those are two guys of a league of 600 people. Is that right? Yeah. 400, 500 people. And there's only two guys that come off the top of my head that are 6'3" and under that aren't the point of attack on offense. Every single year, Isaiah Thomas comes into the G League and scores 50 points, 40 points, 30 points, and is hooping, bag work, you know, getting into his bag and just hooper. Like, he's a real hooper. But we all know, we've seen it time and time again, that once it comes to the NBA level, he might score 12, 13, 14 points. And on a 10-day, he might get a couple buckets, but he's not going to contribute to winning basketball. The G League is not about winning. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of competitive nature there. But at the end of the day, the G League is about developing your young talent into guys that could potentially come to the NBA level, right? There's a lot of competitiveness, but if you want to go win, you go overseas. And that's where you are playing to win, right? If you're in the G League, you're playing for a roster spot. And the reality is, scoring 30 to 40 points in a G League game doesn't mean anything anymore. Because that roster spot, that 14th, 15th spot that you're fighting for, is not going to go to a guy that can score 50 points in a G League game. It's going to go to a guy that's 6'7" and hitting a corner three. I don't know what to make of this, right? Is the smaller guard dead? Like, if 10 years from now, is there going to be any guys other than like Trae Young and Jalen Brunson? Are there going to be any guys that young kids that are, you know, the average height can look up to in the NBA? Or is it all going to be like Luka Doncic, LaMelo Ball, where there's 6'7" point guards? I can't look up to Luka Doncic or LaMelo Ball. Man, sometimes James Harden, but all of these guys are just, you know, so big, so tall that I cannot relate to their moves. You know what I'm saying? I can't relate to it. I can always relate to a Stephen Curry or Kyrie Irving move, because I could go to the local park and do it myself if I practiced enough. I can't relate to a Luka Doncic step back, because I will never be 6'7" and I will never be able to shoot over every single player in the NBA. So is it time that we give up on guys like Mac McClung? He's 26 years old, averaging 25 points a game and 3-time dunk champion. He deserves a spot somewhere, right? But is he ever gonna get it? He's been a two-way player for so many years, getting called up only for the dunk contest. Is he ever gonna get that spot, or is it time to just give up? Is it time to just go to overseas and be a legend overseas? It honestly really hurts me to say all this because, bro, like me, I'm 6'1". I know I don't have a chance to make it to the NBA. But for a kid growing up, I always thought that there was like that dream, right? For kids growing up that are going to be the average height, can they even still have that dream of playing in the NBA anymore? Or is it just strictly for guys that are 6'5" and above, 6'6", 6'7", that can still do everything that a 6'1" player can do? Is it the death of the small guard? All these things, I'm just here for discussion, right? I'm literally holding a Roku TV remote